Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. So I'm back here kind of in the land of forgotten implements, and there's a 4-foot rotary cutter, there's a 6-foot rotary cutter, there's a whole bunch of glass patio doors that were going to be a greenhouse. What else we have over here? There's a one bottom plow, looks like, and this is why I'm here. This is a John Deere MX10 10-foot rotary bush hog. And I think that's going to be just the thing to put behind that International and mow the off-grid property. So let's get it hooked up and see how it can do. Okay, so let's take a gander up underneath this thing because I've never looked under it. This thing was last used probably at least 10 years ago, and maybe 20. We had an International 986 that we pulled it with, and that tractor's been gone an awful long time. So, looks good to me. It's got all 4 blades on it, and you know, they don't look too bad. All right, so we've got possibly 20 years of crud on this thing. So we're going to clean it off, and then we'll grease everything, and then we'll hook it up to the International and see how it does. I'm just going to start at the front and work my way to the back, greasing every grease fitting I find. Ah, there it comes out. Starting to wonder. Okay, the other thing we'll check is there are 3 gearboxes on this, so we'll make sure there's Deere oil in each one of them. And then we'll take this cover off. And see what's under here. Okay, so a chain drive. So these shafts are independent and they're just butted up against each other with this double chain. I saw this system recently. It's the first time I'd ever seen it. And it works a whole lot better than those squish collars that like come on those cheap skid steer bush hogs. So that's pretty good. I'll go ahead and I've got some chain lube, so I'm going to put some chain lube on these, check the gearboxes, and keep looking for grease zerks. Okay, and on these DeWalt grease guns, if your grease fitting's not taking grease, there's a relief valve, and so that grease fitting's not taking grease, so it's blowing grease out of the relief valve instead. So I'll take that off and put a new one on there and see if we can get some grease into that shaft. Okay, and then the other thing, one of the reasons I like this bush hog, other than it's 10 foot long, is it's got a lift cylinder back here that pushes these wheels down to raise the mower up, and then this is a safety latch. So what we'll need to do is hook the hydraulics up to our tractor and charge this cylinder to extend it, and then we can move this safety catch out of the way to be able to lower it lower than it is now. Now I don't know how bad that cylinder is going to leak or anything, because those seals could be dried out, but what I do know too is the property I'm mowing over there, I can mow it at this height and it's not going to affect a thing. Okay, and we've got grease fittings on each of these wheels too. I just love these tires. I'll never have to worry about a flat. Now I'm just going to put some in. It's filling that cap, and I don't want to blow any seal apart. So that puts some in. That'll be enough. Alrighty, we'll lube our chains. Luckily, nothing was living in here either. I hope. Okay, so without spinning these, I'll just lube as much as I can with this red and tacky spray cleaner, or spray grease. And what I'll do is I'll take this with me, and after I've run this a few minutes, I'll jump off and try and grease that back wheel, and also spray this on some more. This seems like a 3/4 inch wrench. So let's see. Push it. There we go. We're going to see if we've got oil inside there. Oh, look, it's got a dipstick. That's nice. I have no idea what the numbers on the dipstick are.
Doesn't have very much oil in it.
It's up to here. Suppose that's the full mark. It'd be nice if it said. I think I'll throw some oil in there. And let me go ahead and pull the other two off, because I've got a 2-gallon jug of that gear oil. And I'll bring it out with a little bitty funnel if that's what it looks like. I keep debating. We've lived here 5 years, and I know this thing was in the woods at least probably 10 years before that. I wonder if it's supposed to go right between those two. I better look up and see what I can find.
Since they're both the same, I would say that's a good idea. Unless you open this one and find out.
Yeah, that it's full.
That it's full.
But if we lived here 5 and this thing's been in the woods the whole time we've been out there,
oh yeah,
I bet, I know it wasn't used 5 years before that. I bet this thing's probably hadn't been touched in 15 years, and it might be more like 20.
That seems quite likely.
I know that International 986. I'm gonna look at these numbers. I bet this is your fill and full line, is probably as long as it's between those two lines, because that's where they're all at. It would be unusual for all 3 of them to be low, I would think. Well, I'll look that up and let you know. I PV blastered this when we first started. I think I'm glad I did. Okay, so we need to move our drawbar back a little bit, and that just involves taking this bolt here loose, pulling our pin, and sliding back to the next hole. And I'm pretty sure that's the right setup. Because here's this shiny clear spot where that bar's been most of its life. When I bought this, the guy told me he had to move it back because this hay bine actually hit the drawbar. There we go. So I think if I hold that up out of the way, no, I'm gonna have to take it all the way off. Okay, so I got the pin and I got messing with it and I got it loosened up and it just comes out. So now we just need to push this back.
I need that.
I can do it myself, I think. Okay, and like I said, the guy that I bought this from told me that this was in a different spot and that I probably need to move it, but he said it's real simple to move, and he wasn't joking. That's nice. So put the pin back in. There we go, and we got a lock washer on it, so that ought to do it. This square plate just keeps this pin from being able to drop down, so.
What you doing?
I gotta make, this drive shaft should move. It's gotta move at least 6 inches to be able to hook up. It's been set for so long in the same. I thought we ought to use the John Deere to work on the John Deere.
Sounds like a reasonable plan.
Okay, let me get my chain. I'm just gonna put this chain through his yoke and go around his clevis. On this little tractor. And come back and hook to it. And then we'll see if maybe we can pull the drive shaft apart without pulling the tractor, or without pulling the bush hog all over the place.
Did just fine. You can see where the color difference is, how far it pulled it out of there. She's looking good.
Well, that's interesting. Probably all you people that have used one of these before have been yelling at us the whole time. So this drive shaft don't move. It extends here. So it extended, like I said, you can see a foot. So, hey, we're ready to rock and roll. So all we got to do is hook it up and we'll be ready to go mow this property.
Whoa!
That good?
I think that you should be able to lock it on from there. As long as she don't roll. Roo-roo.
I don't know what that was. Something didn't like something.
Yeah, I see that.
Almost there.
Yeah, she just needs to spin on a little bit.
I think this thing's locked up.
I couldn't tell
That's
you
not
for
good.
sure.
Here it goes the other way.
Oh boy.
That's not good.
No. Well, you know.
Not any kind of lock on it I know of.
I know of none.
I've never seen a bush hog that wouldn't spin a little bit.
This might be a fail video.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I guarantee you I'd have had it mowed already with my 8-footer.
Right? We'd just be done.
It ain't going.
Okay.
This just needs to be, you know how it was to the left before? It needs to be to the right, just a hair.
Well, darn. Spin the PTO again.
I'm gonna put the PTO in gauge. Okay, so we got our hydraulic coupler plugged in. Now we're going to try and rotate this up, which should move the shaft forward, hopefully enough to get it locked in. I've never even seen this bush hog used, so we're just kind of guessing on how other things have hooked up.
We're about to try hydraulics only to see if we can move it around a little bit.
Are you ready?
Oh, it came undone!
Okay, so I'm not sure what this coupler was. It was on this John Deere. And I know the last time this was run, it was hooked to an International 986. But these adapters were inside the toolbox, and they'll work just fine. Okay, so that should be it. And one of the things, I've never used couplers like this side. I've always had to pull a ring to release it. They say these just break off, I guess, so that if you hit something in the field or something, they're supposed to pop out. But that's foreign to me. Okay, let's see if we can lift this thing. So a quick synopsis of day one. We didn't get the bush hog attached. We've got the drive shaft on a little bit. We need to slide it forward, and we can't get it to slide forward. The only thing we've got, the drawbar is in the right place, and that's about it. I have an adapter for this fitting, but I think this fitting is bad because I plugged this into all four of these hydraulic remotes, and nothing is sending power to that cylinder. Okay, so this is the Pioneer style coupling, and these were, the other one was like, I don't know, whatever, the International fitting. I think that fitting's just bad. It's been laying in the woods in the mud for about 20 years, I'm gonna guess. And maybe it was only 15, but you know, hey, it might have been hard years. What I'm gonna try to do is get a fitting that can screw on this line that has that ball fitting on it. So I'm going to do that tomorrow, though. That's going to wrap up day one, and I am very close to finding a new home for this bush hog. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. All right, so it's the next day, and we're actually not a lot closer to getting this 10-foot bush hog operating than we were about this time yesterday. So there's our PTO shaft, and I've got it, like I said, extended. It's on the spline, and that's good, but I can't get this shaft to expand, and I thought it expanded here. It does not. It expands right here. So I've got a plan for that. The good news is I found a manual online, and there's a couple other things that we need to do. There is a grease zerk on this shaft where the slot's at. So what we have to do is spin the inner shaft and this outer shaft till the slots align, and then we have to spin it until we find the grease zerk down there, and then we can grease this shaft. So I'm going to do that. The other thing I found out was, get on the other side out of the shadows, these threaded studs here, if you put a nut on that and compress it, so tighten them, it pulls this clutch together. So a lot of the bush hogs I have a shear pin. Instead of having a shear pin, This has a clutch on it. And so if you hit something with one of these blades and it stops the whole gearbox, this clutch will spin, keeping anything in the drive line from being torn up, versus having the shear pin that just breaks and does the same thing. So there's a procedure in the manual about breaking this, making sure this clutch is free and operable if it's been stored for a long time, which this one has. So we're gonna do that. Let's see, and then finally, our hydraulics that we had zero luck making them work yesterday. I went to Rural King this morning. I've got a couple new fittings, and instead of using the adapter that goes into this International, I've got a fitting to put a new fitting on the end of that hydraulic hose. So I think I'll start there. So hope you enjoy it. If you've got one of these old bush hogs, like I said, these things are monsters, but they do require a little maintenance. And like I said, after one sitting in the woods for so long, like I said, I saw on Machinery Trader, I don't know the condition of it, but one of them sold on Machinery Trader for $700. But then I saw another one listed on another sales marketplace, and they wanted over $6,000 for it. So I don't know, we'll try it out if we can get it running. Okay, so this is what I picked up at Tractor Supply, and this hose had this JIC coupling to that thread, which sealed with an O-ring, going into this fitting, which then you can see how corroded it is, but it's what plugged into the remote, the way this John Deere was set up. Now I've got this fitting that I thought was an adapter between there, and it did actually plug in, but I never got fluid to flow between them. So I bought this fitting at Rural King, and it's a 1/2-inch pipe here, and then the same fitting on the end, which is the Pioneer coupler style. And then I've got, this has just 1/2 inch in there, so here's a 1/2 inch to the JIC flare that should go straight on that line. And so they had these at my local Rural King, and the total was $38. So let's put these two fittings together to replace these three and see if we have any better luck. I think maybe this fitting, I pushed in that pin and it did actually flow some hydraulic fluid, but I think maybe it's just is too messed up to actually work the way it's supposed to. I hope. Okay, so here's our hose. I've got some of my Blue Monster Teflon tape. Okay, then this flare fitting doesn't need any kind of sealant, so let's put that in. There we go. So that should work a lot better, and we're going to go ahead and try it out. I'm going to plug this in right here, and it's plugged in. Let's go see if we can make our machine work. Okay, inside the tractor, these are the remotes on the rear. This is the one on the right, this is the one on the left. This is the position, they're in neutral now, but this is the position to make that cylinder expand, and then pushing it forward lets it put it in float position, which lets the fluid leak back, and the machine will go ahead and lower under its own weight. So let's get this thing started up and see what we do. This is one of the things I absolutely love about this tractor. She fires right up. All right, we're back, and I've been working all morning trying to get that cylinder some hydraulic fluid flow, and I haven't been able to figure it out. So what I finally decided to do was I removed the hydraulic manifold from this side, which is here, and then I'm just going to replace it. All I need is one remote, so I'm going to just put an ag coupler on this fitting, and then I'm going to put the other side of the ag coupler on this hose, and we're going to run it direct. So we'll see if that works. I did go ahead, before I put these plugs in, which my friend Jim, who's a retired heavy equipment mechanic, gave me a whole box of hydraulic fittings. So I have no idea what those are worth, but these little fittings here were $30. I imagine that box has probably got $500 worth of fittings in it. But with this cap off, I went ahead and hit that remote, and it shot hydraulic fluid almost all the way to the woods. So we've got
way
fluid
back there.
I just couldn't make it come out of here and get to that cylinder, but we're going to fix it. So I did have to buy this 5/8 JIC coupler to 1/2-inch male pipe adapter, and that's so that this will go on the tractor, and then this fitting will just plug into it. And actually, it's the female that will thread in here. But anyway, we'll get it hooked up. Okay, so we'll put these together. Finally broke down and got some actual wrenches. Now this flared fitting, this JIC fitting, will go right in here. We'll put this fitting right here in the top, which is the power side, I guess. Like I said, this is the return line on the bottom. But we only need one.
How does that not need the Teflon tape?
No, it's a flare fitting, so what seals it is that beveled piece against the inside beveled piece. Okay, so I'm just going to tighten these up. A little final tighten. And so what I've got is, this is the power hydraulic flow. This is the return line. I've just plugged it off. And I'll get some kind of cover so that, you know, this doesn't get filled with dirt and everything and stuff, with it pointing up a little bit when it's not being used. Just some kind of rubber boot. But this is the only line we need. Now we just have to get this one plugged into it. And this is how we will do that. So instead of using the international, oh, come on, this is supposed to be 1/2 inch. There it goes. Whoo, scared me. So instead of using the international couplers or flat face couplers, these are called the ag style couplers, which I think is the same as a Pioneer, but I'm not positive. They sell them at Rural King though. Right between those sizes. Okay, so with any luck at all, we just plug this right in, and now we've got power to our shaft. But I've got this hose unscrewed right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this tractor up and hit that power and see if hydraulic fluid comes out of that hose. The other reason I'm going to do that, you know, this hose has been full of fluid for a long time, not being used, so it's probably fairly, maybe, you know, water contaminated or whatever from condensation. So that'll flush out the bad fluid, hopefully. Okay, I'm going to hit the power on that, and I've got this hose unthreaded.
Oh.
So just don't stand in front of it, because you will take a hydraulic bath, and you don't want that.
You realize you have aimed that at me. That's just wrong.
That thing's over there. All right, let's see if we get some. I haven't gotten hydraulics fluid to that point yet, and I've been working on this for at least 4 hours. So
you guys are gonna have to watch this from back this way, because I see how this is about to go. Whoa. You almost shot your John Deere tractor.
Okay, so I'm pretty confident we're going to get this hydraulic cylinder to do something.
It's a bold statement, Cotton. It's a bold move.
Just kind of clean that mating surface off, or at least wipe it off a little bit. This is day 2 working on this tractor, and I was starting to think we weren't going to have any better luck today. Maybe we'll be able to use this thing tomorrow.
That would be nice.
Now, when we hit that, instead of throwing oil over on my John Deere tractor, it should bring this up, which will allow us to move this safety out of the way. You wouldn't have thought that would have taken 2 days to be able to do that, but it did. Let's adjust it up and down a little bit. what I'm thinking is if I adjust that up and down a little bit, it might help move my PTO shaft onto that shaft.
All right, we will see. I'm not sure how much it helped move it on. It looked to me like it made it fall off.
Our lift is working perfectly, and that's nice because that's the first thing on this mower that we've gotten to work at all. So hopefully our luck is changing.
Okay, I'm just gonna point out one thing.
Yeah. Oh no!
It didn't really make it go on more.
No, oh well. It didn't hurt it any. Here,
No, it didn't hurt it any.
I'm gonna put the safety back on.
Okay.
And then I'll actually release the pressure so it's sitting against it so it doesn't move on us. I was gonna release the pressure so it's on that safety so it doesn't move on us while we're working on it.
Yeah.
Could have done it a little smoother, but hey,
yeah,
we got it done. Okay, so this slot that's in this outer PTO shaft safety cover, there's an identical slot in the inner one, and all we have to do is turn them until the slot's lined up.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, I don't think there is a slot. I've been all the way around, there's not a second slot.
Okay.
The manual said, I think a manual, either that or a blog, told me that that was supposed to be like that.
It seems
maybe you
like
have to extend it to the right.
That's what I was about to say, is maybe if this were extended out all the way, we would find it better.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can put
Giant
this
maybe.
It is not moving.
All right.
Okay, so this shaft, you're supposed to be able to pull it out by hand. We cannot move this shaft. So that's why I wanted to grease it. I thought maybe that might help. What I'm going to do though is use this come along. Okay, we'll see if we can do anything with this.
Maybe you're hooking that plastic piece. Okay. Well, if it don't matter, I don't care.
Oh, now that's not good though.
That'll be fine.
Oh, look, it moved. Ha! Did you see? Did you catch that? Look how much gap we've got. We were here and just moved to there. Now the question will be if I can get the PTO shaft on the thing.
Well.
Okay, I have to take our contraption off first. Nice thing about a pin.
Right? The beauty of using drift pins. Okay, check it, because it's probably moved a 1/2 inch now.
So what we'll do if we get the spline started, we'll rehook up our come along and pull it. Okay, there we go.
Oh.
Now we'll do our little Frankenstein and try and pull it in place. So yeah, we bought this up in Calumet, Michigan a long time ago to load a dead snowmobile.
Well, there's the grease zerk thing. Hopefully.
Well, that was lucky. So here's the grease port. I don't see a grease fitting there.
Well.
So we're gonna grease the hell out of that greaser.
See if that works.
Okay, throw some grease in there. And how much grease it need? I don't know. How much I'm gonna use? A lot.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna leave this come along in place. And what I'm gonna do is hit this coupler right here with my either a sledgehammer or a post driver. I think this little pipe right here. Anyway, that will either expand this shaft, and I don't know if that actually is a thing or not. I don't know if that shaft's fixed or if it expands, but it will either expand that shaft and drive that on there, or it'll expand this shaft and drive it on there. Either way, this come along is not going to be in the way, and that'll keep it from springing back off and falling off. So I don't know if this will work, but I haven't known if anything else is going to work either. So let's give it a try. I don't know if this will work or not, but you know, I was looking for something to beat on that with, and I thought, you know what, I've got an air hammer. So, oh, can I get to it?
I don't know. I doubt you can stay there even if you get there.
I think it started to move.
I can't say for sure.
There's just too much of this protection crap in here.
All right. Okay, little pieces of metal felt like they shot off. I don't know if that's true, but
Probably
nothing
dirt.
moved. Oh, okay.
Rust, grime. I mean, yeah, this tipped a little bit. But... I don't think the air hammer's going to get her.
I don't either.
I don't think it's bound up or nothing. It just ain't going to move.
Just won't go forward.
I mean, it's not bound up on this shaft. It's bound up somewhere in the rest of this drive line.
Yeah.
So my apologies to anybody that's been involved in making farming safer over the last 50 years. But we had to cut this off. But look, I'm going to use the safety chain. I get a couple points back. Okay, here's my plan. I'm going to, now that I have a surface I can hit, this shaft is an intermediate shaft that does not expand. It's got to be that shaft expands however it does it. And so I'm going to, now that I have a nice spot to hit, I'm going to try and drive this on here.
We are now resorting to the PB blaster.
PB blaster method. I think what needs PB blastered is this thing.
Hard to say.
But I don't know any way to, I'm not going to cut that big shaft off if I don't have to. So.
No.
I do like safety equipment. It goes that way good.
Spray some more PB blaster in there.
I'm going to.
Can't hurt it.
So yeah, we got to about where those ball bearings are. Maybe blaster all three of those. And I'll take a screwdriver and see if I can move them.
All right, I'm gonna stop.
So Maggie told me 2 hours ago those ball bearings are stuck, and I think she's right. Let's see, you have to push this up. Actually, you shouldn't have to push those up.
No, they should go back on their own.
But we PB blastered the hell out of them now.
So maybe that will help. Hang on. Sorry guys, I gotta get out the blast zone.
I'm reckless with PB blaster.
Yes, he is.
If a little will do it, we're going to use a lot.
Yeah, we need to buy stock in PB blaster.
Thing's harder to hold on to without that plastic piece.
Well, there's a reason they put that on there.
I don't think that was it though. Yep, it makes sense. That's about where it was getting to, is where these ball bearings are at. That moved a little bit. What I need is take a hammer and tap that while I hold it. Yeah, I didn't measure this. Watch this be right in the way. Okay, but with that held back, let's see that screwdriver again.
That's what I was saying. See if they'll move.
I saw 2 out of the 3 move. Okay, I wasn't going to do this at all, but I can't make this thing work. So I'm going to see what this, see where these shafts come together, and we're going to PV blaster them. Okay, so we're about to quit for the night. This will be going on day 3 of this project, but I found out something at 6:08 that I did not know. It absolutely is these ball bearings inside this collar that are holding this from expanding, because I just held that next to it and tapped it out, and the shaft went plenty far enough, fairly easily, you know, with the help of a 3-pound hammer, long enough. So we're going to try one more thing before we retire for the night, and that is we're going to hold that release open and tap it and just see what happens. Hey everybody, welcome to day 3. So yesterday was a little bit frustrating, but we did get the hydraulic system completely up and running on this tractor. What we've been struggling with is this PTO shaft. First it was frozen, we've gotten it unfrozen, but then we really struggled with getting the PTO coupler on. Well, I thought about it overnight. So this PTO coupler, I'd kept sliding this part forward to release the ball bearings. And it occurred to me that all of my other PTO shafts pull back to release them. And I got thinking about this, and look at this. That's how you release the ball bearings. Not this. This is, I don't know what that cover's for or why it's on there, but it doesn't do anything when you pull it forward this way. You have to pull this ring back. And that should free up those ball bearings enough to be loose. So let's see if we can get this PTO shaft on doing that. Oh, look at that.
Nothing to it.
Did you film that?
Yes.
Awesome. I did not think that would work in a million years. But we PV blastered and greased that. And so yeah, now we've got the shaft working. Oh wow.
It's another commercial for PV
Look
blaster.
at that. Now
Okay,
then,
now,
watch this.
Hang on, let me get, here you go.
If I slide that back, should. That's the warning sticker, says do not use, cover's been removed.
I got news for you folks. I grew up on a farm. All them things wind up on the ground because they're always in the way of something you need to do. And you can't take it off and put it back on because you didn't design it that way.
Yeah, it's kind of a, you have to destroy it to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that moved back.
Is it still back?
Yeah, it's still back. Let me put the other one on there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do,
see if we can push it forward.
Well, I'm going to PV blaster these balls.
Okay.
But seeing as we can see the balls, not very discreet there, PTO shaft. We're still filming, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, here. I can help you push it forward as soon as you
See how far that ball's out of there? And see that rust film around that? That's what's been messing with us this whole time. So when these ball bearings get to that groove, this collar should snap forward.
Should be any second now.
Well, what I think is,
you got
maybe the ball
tap.
bearing might still be froze up. Okay, it's farther than it should be.
Yep, but we can pull it back. Or we can pry it back. be right about there.
Okay.
Now see if you can just tap the ball bearings down.
Yep. Oh yeah. 2 of them are down.
Oh, good.
Okay, so we've got the hydraulics hooked up. We've got our PTO shaft finally on. We've got our PTO shaft greased. At the very beginning of this, like a month ago, we checked the oil in these gearboxes and the dipsticks on those 2 little lines at the bottom, that was the fill line. So as long as it was between those, and all of them were. The next thing this PTO has, or this bush hog has, is this is a clutch. So instead of having the small shear pins that go through the connections for the PTO shafts like a smaller tractor has, this thing has a clutch on it. So if you had a big stump with one of these blades and it can't turn, this clutch will slip instead of tearing up your drive line. But this thing sat in the woods for between 15 and 20 years, and most likely this clutch is going to be frozen up. So the manual I found online had instructions on how to free this up, so that's what we're going to try and do. And basically these are 10mm nuts that go on these bolts. There's 4 of these on the outside of this. We're going to tighten these nuts down. That's going to draw this clutch together, squeeze it together so that the spring tension gets broke, and basically it puts the clutch in a free spool configuration. So the instructions say to do that, then start the PTO at 1500 RPMs and start it and stop it 3 times and make sure that this clutch slips. And the way to do that is we're going to put a line, a chalk line, across here. And because I don't know exactly where it slips or how it slips, I'm going to put a chalk line across the whole thing. Now if after we do our 3 turns, if this line no longer lines up, we know we have an operable PTO clutch, which is what we want. Okay, I'm just going to tighten these down evenly. That was kind of what I wanted to hear, was something kind of popping free, because that hopefully is those clutch discs breaking loose. I think it looks like that moved. It might not have, but I know we broke the bolts inside it. Okay, so I'm going to reopen these side shafts and put some more lube on here now that they've turned a little bit. And I'll tell you what, if that shaft had something like this, you'd be able to reuse it. Had to shoot a big old hornet out of the cab when I first got in it.
Well, that's no fun.
All right, so let me know when it looks about level.
Okay.
This running shoe thing, I want about 2 inches off the ground, I'm thinking. It's level if we can get there.
Okay. Maybe a little bit farther down. That's good enough. What I'll do is I just won't get out of the cab until that PTO shaft stops.
And then the other thing I'll do is this tractor starts up real well, so I'll just shut it off. Now I can get out of the cab safely without those shields being in place. All right, well, that's probably enough faux mowing. Seems like it works really well. And now we can take it the 4 miles over to the off-grid property and mow that pond, which definitely needs it. This really didn't need any kind of mowing, definitely not with a 10-foot bush hog. But this little part, it was supposed to be just about, I thought literally in real time it would take me maybe a half hour to 45 minutes to hook that bush hog up to that tractor and get it going. Turns out it was 3 days. So we're gonna end this video here, and we will end up with mowing that on the next one. We definitely ask you to give us a thumbs up for that if you like that video, or if you just want to see if taking those safety covers off is going to be a horrendous idea. Anyway, we invite you to subscribe to see more. Have a great day and be safe.